Hi, everybody. It's me, Jessica, your health fitness program manager from McLean. And we're about to lay down on the floor for today's Yin Yoga class. I recommend that you have a block nearby. If you're feeling really tight, you might also want a strap. And if you're feeling super duper tight, if your hamstrings are not being a friend to you right now, bring a folded up towel or blanket so you can get just a little lift off of the floor. I'm coming over here to just make sure everything is streaming. And let's lay down. We're starting in Savasana, total relaxation. I won't be playing any music today, but as always, I encourage you to check out my absolute favorite playlist to relax. It's the ambient relaxation playlist on Spotify. And I will face you, Fred. What was that? I don't I don't know. Okay, cool. Well, let's lay down on our backs and get started. Ugh. Yay, yin. So we've got just a couple minutes right here in this opening savasana. Feel free to make any adjustments that you want to. Maybe you open your arms a little wider or your legs a little bit wider. If your back is really hurting, perhaps taking a bend of your knees and a little tilt of your pelvis. Or perhaps you're even placing your block to start underneath of your bent, straightened legs. Wherever you are, start to tune into your breath, using your inhale to notice how your body is feeling today. And then, without any sort of judgment or expectation, using your exhale to let go of your stress, of your tension. So each inhale, scanning your body from your head, working your way down to your toes. You notice how you feel and where you feel it. And each exhale, you just do your best to relax. Let your breath be your guide throughout today's practice. So if you come into a stretch that's so deep that you find yourself holding your breath, ease out. Just like if you come into a stretch that starts out feeling awesome, delightful, delicious, noticeable, and starts to turn into breath holding, ouchy faces, pain, I'll work your way back to where your breath is your number one focus. Your stretch is there, but there is no pain. We've got about one more minute in this opening savasana. If you want to set an intention for today's class or focus on a positive affirmation, now's a great time to bring one to the forefront of your mind. The positive affirmation I'm really enjoying this week is the idea that I get better every single day. Well, pardon me, there is like something in my eye. Okay. We're going to draw our knees up towards the chest. So maybe one at a time or maybe both at a time. Feet relaxed side by side or nice and wide open. You can have your legs as close together or as wide apart as feels good for you. Take a little tuck of your chin towards your chest to get more of the back of your head, neck. You even relax the tips of your shoulders to the floor, finding as much length from the crown of your head stretching to the wall behind you as you do stretching through your sacrum to the bottom of your mat. Just a couple breaths left here, knees to chest pose. On your next exhale, go ahead, keep your right leg bent and send your left leg out nice and long. Firmly plant your heel. On the floor, we're going to take our left hand to the outside of the right thigh and extend your right arm on the floor in a T. And from here, rolling on over into a spine twist. If you need a little bit of support for your leg, perhaps you place a block underneath of your bent right leg. If it doesn't feel good for you to have both, to have that bottom leg straight, you can even take as generous of a bend in your bottom knee as you want. Feel free to use your left hand to apply a little extra pressure into your twist on the outside of the right thigh. And if you'd like to involve your neck in the stretch, you can look in the opposite direction that your legs are. We've got just about 2 minutes here in the spine twist from right now. Last few breaths right here. If your bottom leg is still extended long, go ahead, bend your bottom leg so your two knees are stacked. You can reduce or release the pressure of the right hand on the outside thigh and roll over onto your back. Once you get there, inhale, right leg up towards the ceiling. Take a moment to point and flex your toe. When you're pointing, hold for a sec. Really try and touch the ceiling. Feel that big stretch on the top of your ankle. And then flex your toes back towards the face. Try and touch the ceiling with your heel. Big stretch into your calf. One more time in each direction. Point your toe all the way up towards the ceiling. Flex your toe all the way to your face. And then go ahead, cross your left ankle over your right thigh. Take a moment and bring your right knee as in line with that left knee as possible. So perhaps you use your hand to gently press your thigh open. Maybe you bring your hand to your hip flexor to rub it, to give it a little extra warmth, which might help with the stretch. Working to bring that right knee in line with your left, you'll feel a big opening of that front right side hip flexor. We've got a couple breaths left here. If the stretch towards your front inner thigh feels perfect and is what you need today, you can stay right here. If you want to bring it to the back side of the body, go ahead, lift your left foot up off of the floor. I like to just let gravity do the work here. Bringing my both knees, still trying to be in line, are coming closer towards the chest and still trying to keep the low back on the floor evenly instead of bringing that right knee closer towards your shoulder. Big stretch towards that exterior glute and hip. And you can reach through and thread the needle. That's going to bring a little bit more yang to the yin. You can do it if you want to, or just relax on the floor. We've got a couple breaths left. On your next exhale, release the left foot back down towards the floor. Inhale, right leg high towards the sky. Stretch through your toes. Try and touch the ceiling. Flex through your foot. Try and touch it with your heel. Draw your right knee back in towards your chest. Bring your left leg to meet it. Relax on the mat once again. Chin tucked towards your chest. We're back to knees to chest pulls. It might feel totally different. Maybe you do it differently. Are your legs closer together? Are they further apart? Can you actively bring a little bit more of the back of your head, neck, shoulders to the mat? Just a couple breaths left here. On your exhale, go ahead, release the right leg nice and long this time. Right hand comes to the outside of your left thigh. Extend your left arm long and then roll to the side for our spine twist on the opposite side. Still going to get just about uh, 2 minutes from right now. Feel free to bring that block along. If having that bottom leg long doesn't honor your body today, and you want to bend your knees, feel free to bend your knees. If you want the extra stretch in your neck, you can turn and look in the opposite direction of your bent knees. Do what feels right in this moment for this side of your body today. Without judgment or expectation, doesn't matter what your body did yesterday or all the amazing things that it might be able to do tomorrow because you're honoring this breath, this moment right now. If your bottom leg is straight, go ahead, bend that bottom leg. Two legs stacked on top of each other. Roll to your back once again. This time, inhale your left arm up, left leg up towards the ceiling. Really try and touch the ceiling with your toe, and then try and touch the ceiling with your heel. A couple more times in each direction. How does this side feel compared to the other side? Something to just notice. All right, as you're ready, cross your left ankle over the right, and then if you need the assist with your hand, open that inner thigh, work to get your two knees in one line. Hang out here. Just about 1 minute, opening the front side of the hip, and then you can stay here or open up the back side of the glute. Hamstring. All right, if you want to find that stretch more towards the back side of the body, go ahead. Lift your right leg up. Still work to keep those two knees in one line. Try not to let that left knee independently come towards your chest. Try to keep those two hips even as well. Just a few breaths here. On your next exhale, release the right foot back down towards the floor. Inhale your left leg up towards the sky. Try and touch it with your toes. Big stretch on the top of the foot. Try and touch it with your heel. And then exhale, release your left foot back down to the floor. Next up, we've got a supported glute bridge. So grab hold of your block, walk your feet in underneath of your knees. On your inhale, lift your hips up, slide your block under your low back. You can have it on whichever height feels best for you. A little pressure into the low back sacrum. Glutes are just hanging off of the side. Your arms can stay down here by your side. Your legs can stay right where they are. If you want an extra stretch into your lower belly, you can walk or wiggle your legs a little further from the center line. Maybe it feels good to stretch your legs all the way out for a pontoon pose, or maybe you stretch them out and that just wasn't right for you, in which case you can bring them back in a little bit. Do you want to stretch through your upper body? If so, inhale your arms up and overhead. You can take a generous bend of your elbows. Find what feels good. We're going to hang out here like this for one more minute, and then I'll give you the option to add a little hip opener even here in our supported bridge pose. Awesome. You can stay right here how you are. If you want a little bit more of a hip opener, we're going to change our legs. If your legs are extended long, I encourage you to bring your arms back down by your side to support you as you walk or wiggle your feet back underneath of your knees. And then from there, you can wiggle the soles of your feet together, allow your knees to fall open for that inner thigh stretch. And then if you want, you can bring your arms back up overhead to continue the stretch into your upper body. Check out how this reclined bound angle with your supported bridge feels. And if the answer is that's too much for me, you can always go back to that bridge pose as we were just doing. We got 2 minutes right here. Once again, if your arms are up overhead, bring your arms back down by your side. Use them on the floor to help you to gently either walk your legs in or back together, keeping your back on the block for just a little bit longer. Draw your knees to your chest once again. So a little bit of a different self-myofascial release with your hips up on the block. Instill knees to chest pose. And then extend your legs long up towards the ceiling or some legs up the imaginary wall. Two more breaths here, as slow as you can. When you're ready, bring your knees back to your chest and then explore going one leg at a time. Sole of the foot back down towards the floor. Opposite leg meets it. Once both feet are ground, use your inhale, lift yourself up, and exhale, slowly lower yourself down. One vertebrae at a time. And then we're going to roll over. Roll it on over. Once you get there, enjoy some cat cow. A little bit of free range movement for the next minute or so. While you're doing your own cat cow, I'm just going to check on the screens. Things seem to have gone awry. You're just breathing and moving and doing what feels good for you. Oh, good. We're still cooking with gas. Gas versus electric. Okay. One more minute here of your free movement in cat cows. Knowing that we have a lot of focusing on hip openers today, perhaps you use this time to get a couple more stretches into the center of the body, into your obliques, into your shoulders, maybe even playing a little bit with stretches into your wrists. We will have a very nice long child's pose coming up next. So that's something great to look forward to. Don't worry, I'll bring a little bit of love to our shoulders as well as we continue to move forward. Bring your toes together, open your knees as wide as you want. Send your glutes back towards your heels and start to walk your hands forward. You can stretch those arms as far forward as feels right for you today. You want an extra stretch in your shoulders. Maybe you're even tenting your hands like little spiders. And if that feels like too much, take a generous bend in your elbows, as generous as you need. Maybe elbows are even touching knees. If that's still too much, you can reach your hands all the way back towards your heels with your palms facing up. If you don't like having your head all the way down on the floor, perhaps you have it on your block or on that folded up towel you might have brought today. We got 4 more minutes in today's child's pose, so really relax. Come back to using your breath to notice how you feel. So scan your body 1 inch at a time, working your way down from the top of your head to your toes. Check in with your personally tense spots. When you hear stressful news, where do you hold it? How do you engage? Maybe you squeeze your fists. Maybe you purse your lips. So check in with those spots right now. And once you've made your way all the way to your toes, start again at the top of your body. We're reaching the halfway point in this child's pose. How's your stillness coming along? If the answer was awesome, then good. Keep it up. Do your best. And if the answer is challenged or just not so great, how's your stillness in this breath? It's not all or nothing. And this yoga really is practice. It's not perfect. Every day is going to be different, just like in life. Every day is different. And what we do on the mat is not just practice for yoga, but for real life. I like to think of this class as like a red light, green light for stressful situations. So hopefully the next time you're in a meeting or having a conversation with a friend and they say something that you might have reacted to right away, maybe it reads on your face if you don't agree, or the reaction of your body is just visible. Can you bring stillness into your tense life moments off of the mat as easily as you deal with them while here in your practice? And you're just doing your best. So come back to your positive intention or mantra if you set one right now. Reminder that my suggested and favorite mantra of the moment is I get better every single day. 1 minute left. Start to walk your hands back in underneath of your chest shoulders, and with intention, cross yourself up. We're going to come onto our glutes in a comfortable seated position. I'm recommending Sukhasana or easy pose, so some folded legs. We're going to get into a straddle in a little bit. Maybe you have one foot in front of the other. Maybe you got a little crisscross applesauce. However you sat down, if your knees are coming up towards your shoulders, if your knees rose above your hips, I want you to use your prop. I want you to want to use your prop because that's what yin is about. It's about taking advantage of all those great things around us to feel our best. So, knees are rising up towards your chest. You're going to sit yourself up on your block or even that towel just to get a little lift from the floor and bring a bit more sloping into your hip flexors. Whatever you're sitting on, the floor, the block, a towel, round through your sit bones. Think about um, getting a strong spine, your sit bones pressing down. A couple breaths here as is. And from here, we're going to take a bit of a forward fold. Forward folds, though, the goal is to fold from the hips, not to fold from the waist. So you can start by bringing your fingers forward and bringing your shoulders forward. Still lots of length in your spine. Maybe you touch the floor. Maybe the floor feels really far away, and that's okay too. If you have another block and the floor feels far away, you can place your fingers on the block. Make sure that your sit bone is still just in contact with whatever surface you're using. I'm going to release myself from the block. And if your fingers are touching the floor, and you're already in this forward fold and you want more, you can walk yourself forward even more. Once you have hinged from the hips, then it's okay to take some rounding from the back, but it's going to feel a lot better on your body if your hinges from your hips here, as opposed to if your hinges from your upper back, which just starts to bring a lot of stress. So we're beginning with your chest coming towards your triceps. And then if your triceps are so far away, then you can take a little extra rounding and feel good. All right, we're going to start to walk their hands a little to the right, as far over to the right as feels correct, while still keeping your left sit bone down on the floor. You can draw your left shoulder forward, right shoulder back for a little extra emphasis of the stretch. Still pressing left sit bones down to the floor. Just a couple more breaths. Still have enough forward hinge from the hips, so I'm coming forward from the low back. One hand over the other, start to walk yourself to the opposite side. Once you get there, once again, option to really draw your right shoulder forward, left shoulder back. Just keep pressing your right sit bone down to the floor. Apologies if you can hear whatever loud madness is happening in the hallway right now. I hope that you don't. But if you do, I'm sorry. Go ahead, walk your hands back to center. Lift yourself up. You can bring your hands behind you for a nice little counter stretch, a supported backward bends, lifting your chest, even eye gaze going back, chin stretching up. Bring your chin back to your chest. We got to straddle. So open your legs nice and wide as feels okay for you. Again, this is a great opportunity to sit on that folded towel. I find the height of the block to be a little bit too much for a seated straddle, maybe even a little bit too much for that Sukhasana with forward fold, but that little bit of a lift can really help, whether that means a thin uh, pillow or that folded up towel. From here, if you're feeling really tight, hands can be behind you. And if you can, bring your hands in front of you. So this is yin. You can let your toes do whatever you want. If you want that extra stretch in your legs, though, flexing your toes back towards your face while grounding through your sit bones is going to increase the stretch even more. We've got 1 minute left right here. Okay, start to walk yourself over towards that right thigh. Maybe you still need to have both of your hands to the inside of your legs if you're feeling really tight. Can you bring your right hand to the outside of the right thigh? Do your best to square your chest with your thigh as well. And I gaze down towards the floor. I'm still trying to ground through both sit bones. And just like we did in Sukhasana, throwing a little bit more of that left shoulder forward, right shoulder back. Next, we're going to change our eyes, change the twist. Perhaps you can reach towards your toe and bring your elbow either in front of or behind your leg, maybe on top of it. Does that sound really far and unfathomable? Go ahead, bring your forearm to a block, whether it's on the flat side or the high side. And you get a little combo of using the block and trying to reach towards your foot, even if you can't quite get there today. We're going to inhale, left arm up towards the sky. I want you to relax your shoulders from your ears. Relax your jaw. I gaze up towards the ceiling, doing your best to line your thumb up with your nose. Did your left sit bone come up off of the floor while you took this twist? Can you relax and breathe and sit it down just a bit? A couple more breaths. Well, one more big inhale here. Exhale, bring your left hand back down inside of your right thigh and walk your hands over one another to the center. Lift yourself up, bring your hands behind you and bend your knees nice and wide. Soles of the feet come down towards the floor. Windshield wipe your legs in opposite directions. Get some big stretches on the outside of the hips. And believe it or not, now we're going to do the same thing on the opposite side. So come back through into your straddle once again. Make any adjustments that you need. Maybe your legs are just as wide, or maybe they close up a little bit this second time through. Okay. Start to walk yourself over to your left thigh. Keep that right sit bone rooted. Can you get your left hand to the outside of your thigh? Remember, it's okay if you can't. If you're just working towards twisting in that direction, find what feels okay. Eye gaze down towards the floor, doing your best to square your chest with your legs. We got a couple breaths left here. Are you ready to find your twist? You can bring your block along as something to place your forearm on, reaching towards your big toe, whether you have it on this side or not. We're going to sweep and inhale, right arm up towards the ceiling. Relax your shoulders from your ears, find length in the crown of your head. Relax your jaw and just do your best to look up, align your chin up with your nose. Sorry, with your thumb. Ideally, your chin is already lined up with your nose. That's just how your face works. Remember, no judgment of how the stretch looks on this side. Just big breath. On your exhale, bring that right hand back down to the floor, eye gaze back down to the floor. Walk one hand over the other back to center and then into your center line. Bring your hands behind you and then bring your legs together. You can boop, 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 boop. Bring your legs together in front of you, nice and long. Take a moment to windshield wipe your feet, bob your knees. And then notice if, as you brought your legs in front of you, pretty likely that there could be some big rounding through your low back. So lift your chest up and forward. And if you still find that you're behind your hips, then I want you to walk your glutes back one at a time, as many times as you need to get a little bit of a forward hinge from your hips. Fingers can come down by your side to find some nice lifted length for just a couple breaths here in staff pose. 2 more breaths here. Excellent. As you're ready, we're going to lower ourselves all the way back down towards the floor. Maybe you need to scoot yourself forward. I think I do. And relax back on your mat. Feel free to bring your heels together to touch and your toes to fall open. Arms can be close by your side with your palms facing up. If it feels better to open your arms a little bit wider or legs a little bit wider, or maybe bring one hand to your heart or one hand to your belly, find what feels good today as we melt into our final savasanas. One more opportunity together to start some total body scans from the top of your head all the way down to your toes. Work down inch by inch. Inhale, notice how you feel, and exhale, relax, release. Keep in mind here at the end, especially at the end in your savasana, that this is still a posture, corpse pose, dead body pose, working to bring some stillness, allowing your practice to really sink in to your mind, body, and soul. And if your eyes are moving, your mind is moving. So find that one spot on the ceiling, relax your eyes or close them for just a minute more of breath here together. As always, I invite you to stay in this final savasana for as long as honors you, whether it be another one breath, 1 minute, 1 hour. However, if the time is right for you to close out your practice for today, you're welcome to take a wiggle of your fingers and your toes, and then take your time to make your way into a comfortable seated position of your choice. When you do find that comfortable seated position, ground through your sit bones once again and use your breath. Take a big inhale, bring your arms up overhead. Hands, palms come together, and then hands come down to heart center. Thumb touching your chest sternum. In Namaskar, tuck your chin to your chest. Take a moment to bow your head and honor yourself. Can you think about one positive thing that you've done today, something that you can be proud of? Perhaps you tie that thought into your positive affirmation. And until we are together again, I encourage you to keep thinking these good thoughts. Speak good words to yourself and to others. Eat good foods, do good deeds, and take some time every single day to nourish yourself from the inside out because you are worth it. And if no one has told you today, you're special. Go ahead, bring your thumb up to your third eye, your drishti, if it feels right. Lift your heart and know that the light within me honors, sees, and is so thankful for the light within you. So please keep coming, keep showing up for yourself. Thanks for coming and sharing your energy, not just with me, but with each other. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, week, month, year, everything. Namaste.